Hey, 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 it is your man. To others, your pastor. To others, just your friend, Mr. B. I'm here tonight teaching on in medicine for the mind how to live an addiction-free life. And tonight is going to be special. If you know of anyone that's been struggling with addiction, please share this with them and introduce them to this podcast because I want everyone to be free. And I'm teaching this based on a Christian uh, value system. I'm teaching this based on a Christian perspective. And so you can be free. God doesn't want any of his children to be bound by any chain that is choking and killing and controlling their lives. And so I'm here to teach on it. And I have a lifetime of experience with this. Someone has been addicted in my life uh, consistently since I was born, and I have so many uncles and cousins and my mom, family members that are close to me that struggled with addiction, and then I have some that have broken the chains of addiction, and I've decided that I'm going to teach as long as the God would have me to do so on how to be free. So if you know someone, share this. Talk to them about it. Send them an email. Send them a text. Share this because this is a good way to understand how to be free from every addiction in your life. It doesn't make a difference whether it is crack, whether it is powder cocaine, whether it's heroin, whether it's alcohol, whether it is eating, whether it's gambling, or porn, watching porn, sex. It doesn't make a difference what the addiction is. It can be emotional addiction, being addicted to being in a relationship to a person. All of these addictions are broken with the same formula. And so what we're going to expose to you is how to be free, how to live free. Tonight's lesson is the deception of addiction. That's what we're dealing with, the deception. Now, I'm going to teach on this deception from a Christian perspective. We're going to go to scripture and I'm going to teach on it. And then we're going to give you a few pointers so that you can break the stronghold or break the control of addiction over your life. Okay, so the first thing I want to let you know is that we must understand the deception, the definition of deception, uh, in order to recognize how to be free from it. Now, what is deception? One will not believe that they have been deceived because you don't understand what it is to be deceived. And when individuals don't understand what it is to be deceived, a lot of times they feel like it's truth, but it's really a lie. You feel it, you sense it, and you say that it's truth, and you believe that it's truth, but it's really a lie. And addiction presents false realities as truth, and if you never are exposed to the truth, you'll never be free from it. So what is deception? Listen to this. This is deception. To be misled by false appearance or statements. Or statements. That's what deception says. It says something that is appearing and a false statement, and someone tells you that it's true. It's almost like when you tell my wife, used to say some things that were crazy to my children. Kids would say, "Well, where does chocolate milk come from?" And then she would say, "From chocolate cows." It seemed like it made sense to the child, but as they got older, they recognized, man, cows don't make chocolate milk. Yeah, it's because it appears good, right? But it's really deception. The next thing is this: a fixed belief, a fixed belief. Hear that is resistant to reason or confrontation with actual facts. So it is something that I've fixated on, something that I have chosen to believe, something that I don't even want to debate about because I just believe this is the truth. Regardless of the way you're reasoning, regardless of, watch this, whether or not it's actual factual. You can fall into deception and believe that something works when it's not working. You can believe that something is true when it's really not true. And that's what addiction hides behind. It hides behind deception because it presents a false reality. It makes you think that this is necessary in order for you to exist, and it's not. You're just deceived. And we don't like to accept that we're deceived. And then we'll also debate when we're deceived. We're debated. You say, "Well, I don't know. Or my family been doing this for years. This is the way you listen. I know that when you've been conditioned by relationships, you can think that everything you're doing is correct, but it's not. It's like this. Let me give you an example. My father went out and got switches, and the switches that he got, he when I would mess up or do something wrong, he just whooped me. And when he whooped me, I would have whelps all over my legs. I remember having blood spots all over my legs because that's what he whooped. He really thought that that was the best thing. One time, I was whooped, and uh, the belt he used, it was a big black belt that he used, and that big black belt, he began to swing it to hit me, and I tried to duck, and it hit me in my eye, and the holes where you would secure the belt, one of the holes, you could see the hole on my face, and he thought that that was the way you were supposed to discipline someone that had been disobedient, which was me. And now I know that's not how you're supposed to discipline someone. The Bible teaches totally different. I know that it says spare the rod, spoil the child, but the rod was a reed. It was something that you were supposed to sting the person with, but not, watch this, draw blood. It was done incorrectly. He did it out of love, but it was instituted out of incorrectly because of deception. And if I didn't take the time to redefine what what discipline was, and what the God's word had to say about discipline, I would have done the same thing to my children. I would have done the same thing. And so I I I redefined it. I did research. Because I didn't know better, and I wanted to know. I knew that something was wrong, and that's the way with deception. If you don't get in control of this thing, if you don't tie it up, if you don't do research, if you don't study for yourself, you'll continue to do exactly what you've been exposed to. Uh, uh, Listen to this. One of the hiding places of deception is, hear this, It's occurs. How does it occur? It occurs through relationships. That's what deception occurs through relationships. Now, watch this. In addiction, most of your addiction was introduced through a relationship. You just didn't start using whatever substance or doing the just gambling by yourself. You didn't gamble by yourself. It was it was through a relationship. And in order to for deception to be presented, it has to be presented by someone. So one of the things you got to be very that's going to be key in your freedom from this deception is your relationships, to make sure that whoever you're in the relationship is not addicted to whatever you're in. But that's the answer. I want to stop before I give you answers. Now let me show you how that deals with how the relationship. There was a story about a mom that that had Thanksgiving dinner, and she cut the turkey in half and would cook it and then present it. And then the daughter just followed suit and uh, just took it. Always cut a half a turkey. It was a half a turkey, and then the granddaughter. It was her turn to start doing it. That she had gotten older, and she asked the mother, "Well, why are we cutting the turkey in half?" And the mother said, "I don't know. Let's ask Big Mama." And they called Big Mama, and Big Mama said, "Well, the reason why I cut the turkey was because I didn't have a pan large enough to for it. I didn't have one big enough for it, so I just cut it in half." Now it was passed down from generation to generation, and watch this. And the only uh 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 thing that could change it was to understand why you did it in the first place. That's how deception takes place. It's passed down through generations, through generations, through generations. And a lot of people don't even understand why they go to the to beer or wine. Why they don't even understand why they keep chasing after a relationship. It's because that's what they've experienced. Well, in order for you to get out of this deception, you got to challenge it. You got to challenge it. All right. Number two, how does deception occur? Watch this. It through commonplace. Through commonplace. In other words, it's become common. It's everybody in your environment is doing it. It's when every family get together, the way they have a good time is they get blind, they get drunk, the they just party, and in order to have a good time during the party, you gotta have some good wine. I was watching the Sanford and Son the other day, and Fred was saying, "Oh shucks, we gonna have a party," and and the first thing he asked was, "Well, what you gonna drink?" And he was like, Beaujolais. And he was like, "Listen, I got some Ripple and I got a pot of onion stew." And he said, "We'll pour the Beaujolais into the Ripple and then we'll call Bougie Lipple." In other words, they thought that the only way you could have a party was to have something to drink. It was go see that's deception. Party does not mean getting drunk. Party does not mean having something to drink. Party means we're gathering and having a good time. And whatever the people declare is a good time is what determines whether or not you have a party. Okay? So that's deception. It's commonplace. Everybody in your neighborhood, all your friends, everybody that you're associated with it, they do the same thing. And you know, like we're gonna get together with my friends and you listen. Well, listen, I'm betting on that. You give me, I got 50 on it. Listen, it's not. It's commonplace, but it doesn't mean that it's not that it's right. The next thing for living in deception, or how do you get this? How does deception occur? Is lack of exposure. It's lack of exposure. It means that you've not been exposed to anything different. You've never been privy to witness a different lifestyle. One of the greatest things that I think that I could have ever done was to get to move out of the city of Petersburg, because when we moved, it exposed me to different places and different personalities and different appetites and different uh, uh, lifestyles. And because I was exposed to different lifestyles, I began to choose different. You only can choose what you've been exposed to. It's almost like preparing a buffet. And the only thing that you can choose off the buffet is what's on the table. But there's so many different things that can be on the table, but you'll never be able to choose it if you've never been exposed to it. And then the last thing that causes deception, hear this, is desensitization. To be desensitized to what you know is wrong. But because you become familiar with it and you're around it so much that you become desensitized until the point where you begin to dab and dabble in something that you know is not good. I was watching a TV show the other day, and it was a daughter that made this. She said she was addicted to heroin, and she uh, was her mother was addicted to heroin, and because her mother was addicted to heroin, they were suffering so much that her grandmother took her and raised her and her sister, and they just raised them and kept them. And then all of her life, she went to college. She was successful. She was a employee of Snoop Dogg, and she was living a great life. And her boyfriend was murdered, and she lost it. And when she went through that experience, she wanted to numb the pain. She wanted to get rid of the pain. So she went to her mother and asked her mother, uh, "What? How can I get rid of this pain?" And her mother introduced her to heroin. And she said, from the moment her mother introduced her to it, she was addicted. Now, the very streets that she used to drive down and look at these hotels that were disgusting, she was in the room of the hotel that she called disgusting. It was she she could see the prostitutes at this particular hotel. Now she was in the hotel prostituting because she had become desensitized to what was right and what was wrong. And the only way they could get her free from this addiction was to remove her from the environment and take her away. And she got into detox and into a place of recovery where she began to redefine her exposures and her lifestyle. She became free. Now, I want you to know, you got to get out of this thing called addiction. So how do you know whether or not you're addicted? How do you know? What are the statements of deception that it tells you that you're not addicted? Listen to this statement. Here's some of the statements. I can stop whenever I want to. Whenever I want to. That's a statement of addiction. You're deceived. Whenever you feel like you're doing something and you can stop whenever you want to. So this is how you check it. Check it whether or not you can do that. You can do it. Now I'm gonna show you next statement of deception. Hear this. I need to calm my nerves. So y'all can do what y'all want to do. Now, how many of you have heard that cigarettes calm you down? Well, cigarettes is you're in deception because nicotine doesn't calm you down. It actually stimulates you. So because somebody just said, I need my nerves bad. I need a cigarette. I need something to calm me down. Listen, that's deception. That's deception. And I would feel crazy. I really would. I would feel crazy if I had to get something outside that is destroying my body. And now we know, everybody knows that cigarettes cause cancer. I would be I would be totally crazy to think that I'm going to allow something outside of me no bigger than my finger to make me have to use it. The next statement is this. Uh, this will help me get it off my mind at least for a little while. I remember, I'll never forget it. This guy, I was teaching about addiction, and he had relapsed. And he would come back, and when he came to after a relapse, he said, "Well, my daughters were talking to me in the kind of way, and they were talking to me, and they made me feel bad about who I was. And listen, I just figured I just get high just for a little bit. It'll take it away for a little while." Deception. Deception. It doesn't change anything. There's no benefit to using whatever substance is tearing your life up. The next statement was this. Hear this. Hear this. I know it has made other people sick, but they were just weak-minded. Listen, they didn't know when to stop. They let it control them instead of them controlling it. Have you ever heard that? That is deception. Individuals who can see that something destroys lives, destroys health, destroys relationships, make you a liar, make you do things that you said you wouldn't do, make you do go places you said you wouldn't go, make you behave erratically, and don't think it's a problem. You're living in deception. And the Bible will refer to that as a spirit. It's a spirit. And don't you know that alcohol? Have you ever noticed this? That when you go certain places, they'll say they have spirits and blues. In other words, drinks and blues. What spirit do you want? I remember I had an uncle, man, that whenever he drank a Crown Royal, his personality would change. His lips would draw up. He would become one of the most evil persons you would ever want to meet. I remember when, another family member, they would, whenever they drank Cisco, y'all know it, Cisco, man, they would become angry, and it has a history of making persons angry. Listen, Christian wise, it exposes yourself. You're being exposed to a spirit. That's where addiction resides ultimately. Now listen to this. The next thing it says, a deception, statements of deception. I'm not bothering anyone. It's only affecting me. Don't listen. You're in deception because there are other people who you are affecting. My mom used to say that all the time. I ain't bothering nobody. But did she know that she would never meet any of my children? Did she know that she would have 14 grandchildren, and I believe uh, three, four, five, maybe five great grandchildren you would never meet. And my children have to hear the stories of what my mother was like. It affects other people. It affects other people. Yeah, addiction affects other people. And then the last statement is this. The last statement is simply this. I deserve to have a little fun after all. The hell I've been through. I ought to get a little bit, just one. Do you understand that that you that's not deserving to have fun? You can't deserve to be addicted. You can't earn it. I got a right to be addicted. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. This been working for me. It's like an old girlfriend. We ain't breaking up. I know it's been bad, but listen, at least they've been here. Listen, you're in deception. You're in deception. So let me say this. What can get you free from deception? What can get you free? Listen to this. The number one thing that can get you free is prayer. You must pray and ask God to reveal to you the truth. That's one thing. You got to pray and then ask God to reveal you the truth. Now, you got to be open to the truth. You got to be open to challenging your way of thinking. Okay? And this is how you challenge your way of thinking. Ask yourself this question. Do an honest look at where you are in life and ask yourself the question. Am I satisfied with what I have accomplished in life? Am I satisfied? See, addiction makes you feel like you're satisfied, but when you look at your life and you begin to say, oh man, I'm not satisfied with this. I'm not satisfied with my relationships with my children. I'm not satisfied with my relationship with my spouse. I'm not satisfied. I'm not content. And when you and is that associated with addiction? Ask yourself, did I choose to go after this thing instead of going after what was better with my family? I remember one time when one of my parents said I needed lunch money, and they were so addicted to cigarettes that they said this. Listen, go to school. You go. Won't you go borrow some lunch money? And I was like, what you mean borrow lunch money? And he said, well, all I got is 30 cents. And go borrow the rest of it. But on my way to school, on my way to school, they went by and bought some cigarettes. And I always thought to myself, the cigarettes were more important than my food. Do you understand? You're in deception. Ask yourself, is that the way you're supposed to behave? Another thing, hear this. If this is where you get out of it, don't do whatever you're addicted to for 30 days. 30 straight days. Quit it, give it up for 30 days. 30 days will give you enough time to get it out your system, get your brain starts thinking clear, whatever it is. If you can't stay away for 30 straight days, it's safe to assume I'm addicted. I can't do without it. And if you can't do without it, then that's dangerous, because now you have something that you need to live that you don't have to have it to live. And then last but not least, hear this. Ask other people that care about you, that's not addicted or actively using this substance. Am I a better person because I do this? Am I a better person? And if you ask somebody that's really paying attention, they'll be truthful enough to tell you, no, that makes you worse. It doesn't make you better. Now, continue to to subscribe to this podcast, because the next podcast I'm going to teach on how to actively break this thing of addiction in 5 simple steps. 5 simple steps of how to break addiction. You got it? Well, I hope you've been blessed today. I hope you have been educated today. And I hope that your life change, because you're worth it. You're worth it. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Medicine for the Mind.